The following program is a Town of Colony television production of the William K. Sanford Town Library.
Good morning, everybody. See, this is what happens after 12 years. And thank you, Mark and Rich and Steve for that very warm welcome. It's always an honor for me to be here, and I've been very grateful for your interest and encouragement over all these years. And no, I didn't expect to be here for 12 years. You know, every time I look around, I think I'm like the only person left working. And so I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with that picture, Joseph. So anyway, I can truly say that being your supervisor has been a positive and very rewarding experience. And sometimes very challenging, as you all have experienced that yourselves in business and your lives. And I have many exciting new developments to report to you this morning. And first, as always, I want to thank our three great advocates for Colony, our Chamber CEO, Mark Egan, Chair Richard Sleesman, and Albany-Colonie Chair Bob Schofield, as well as all your Chamber Board and staff members, and also Tom Nolte from the Colony Chamber. Thank you for being here as well. You know, I consider myself lucky to be able to work with the Chamber all year long. We do a lot of ribbon cuttings and advocating for each other and sharing our news, so it's always a positive experience. And we're lucky here in the town of Colony, as in the region, to have such an active and involved Chamber members. And I want to give a special thank you to your outgoing chair and my friend, Paula for her dedication to the Chamber and the entire Colony community. Thank you so much, Paula, for everything. And I told Paula, as somewhere down the road as she approaches her new journey, if she gets bored, to come on over, because there's plenty to do in the town of Colony. But seriously, you just, I just can't say enough. You're the best. Finally, again, thank you to CBRE Albany and the HMS agency, Rich and Steve, for your continuing support. 10 years is a long time that you've been doing this, and we really appreciate your support for the state of the town. And this is a great way for me to update you on Colony and for me to get your feedback, because there's always a lot going on in the town, and this is a way to bring awareness to the new events and what we've accomplished. But I think we all know we get the best outcomes when we work together. And that's always been my approach and my philosophy when working with all of you in the business community, the residents, and also the people that help me day in and out, and that's all the members of the town of Colony that work for us. And I can't say enough great things about them as well. But first, I'm happy to note that Colony continues on its strong upward trajectory. People really want to live here, and businesses really want to be here. And this has generated great positive energy, and it puts us in an excellent position for the future. All of you play a huge role in what makes our town so exceptional. So I thank you for bringing so much variety and richness to our life here in the town of Colony. And financially, we continue to be on firm ground. Our budget is balanced, and our fund balance keeps growing. We're actively investing in our most critical infrastructure, as well as in our parks and recreational facilities. We've strengthened public safety with staffing levels in our police and EMS departments at new highs. In all these areas, you can see your tax dollars at work. We work very hard to prioritize the needs of the town to ensure your dollars are being spent wisely. Plus, we've redoubled our efforts to obtain grant money to help us achieve new goals, and we're now working to create a funding stream to help us preserve open space, such as farmland, environmentally sensitive areas, and waterfront. Interestingly, these areas that we've been actively working on are in line with the preliminary recommendations of the 2005 Comprehensive Plan Update. And I'm really proud of all that we've accomplished together. And speaking of our accomplishments, I want to personally thank all of our town board members who have worked in partnership with me to help make these good things happen. I also want to thank our hardworking department heads and other town employees, many of them who are here today, including our retired former Chief of Police, Steve Hyder, and also our town clerk, Julie Gansel. Everyone together, and Mark has mentioned many of you that are here today with us. Our partners in government as well, Mayor Frank Leake from the Village of Colony, Mayor Meg Grenier from the Village of Manans. It's just great working with all of them. This is not something somebody can do on their own, and we really work very well together, and that's something that is a great accomplishment as well. So let's just take a moment to give everyone here a hand. Everyone I've mentioned, will you please stand so we can recognize you for your hard work and dedication? Come on, stand up. Employees, town board members, Julie, okay, department heads. Thank you so much, everyone. I think that's the first time I've ever seen them be so shy. They're not that shy when they come into my office, let me tell you. Anyway, I truly appreciate all that you do. I hope you don't mind me repeating myself on this, but Colony was once again named the best suburban community in the Times Union Readers Poll. That's 5 years in a row. Think about that, 5 years in a row. And you know, it's not about being first. It's about looking at what we've accomplished together, and whether we're first or second or third, it's that we know in our hearts that we're doing the right thing. But to be recognized by the entire community, and 5 years in a row, it's just unbelievable. So again, that's what everybody working together, and that's how we accomplish that. But we know our hometown feeling plays a big role in that. Our neighborhoods are safe and welcoming. Our schools are excellent. Our business climate is thriving. And there's a great spirit of community and citizen involvement at every level. In addition, we have great services, and we continue to focus on opportunities for our seniors and young people. And again, achieving this recognition 5 years in a row is remarkable, and it's wonderful to have our work recognized, and it motivates us to continue to raise the bar. We also continue to be identified as one of the safest towns, with both our police and EMS departments consistently receiving top honors for excellence. I'm very proud to report that in 2018, crime was once again down in every category. Violent crime was down 4.7%. Serious crime was down 1.3%, and less serious crime was down 6.5%. All this as service calls continue to increase. Public safety has always been one of my most important goals, and these numbers show the success of having increased staffing levels. Just recently, our EMS department was named Regional Agency of the Year. And in December, the town added 8 new full-time EMS positions. Now we can cover the majority of shifts with full-time personnel and staff an additional ambulance during peak hours 7 days a week. And thanks to our Assemblyman Phil Steck, the town will receive $250,000 towards the purchase of a new ambulance. This is all very exciting for us. And I'd like to take a moment to thank our Police Chief, John Teal, and his staff, our EMS Chief, Peter Berry, and his staff, and all the firefighters from our 12 volunteer fire companies. They all do an outstanding job. Thank you so much. Our Department of Public Works has been busy working to make the town's infrastructure the best it can be. We are continuing major initiatives to improve our drinking water and sanitary sewer systems and to bring all our roads back to top condition, which sometimes seems like a never-ending task. Our DPW and park staff have also been very busy actively upgrading our many beautiful parks and recreational facilities. We are now in the 10th year of our paving and stormwater improvement program. We've invested carefully at upwards of $2.5 million a year for a total of about $25 million. Just last summer, we repaved all or part of 50 roads, but paving is very expensive at about $184,000 per mile. Just as an example, repaving just one street, Wortman Lane, cost $145,000. But we are making good progress, and I hope that within a few years we will be able to increase our paving plan budget above current levels, and that remains a goal for the future. Last summer, we took a big step forward at the Mohawk River Town Park when we installed a beautiful state-of-the-art splash pad. We had been wanting to provide something special for our smaller children, and we were able to complete this project and open the splash pad this past summer. The response was overwhelming, and I hope you get a chance to bring your little ones, your grandchildren, nieces and nephews, because it's really, really beautiful and loads of fun. And you can go in it too. The splash pad was just the latest improvement to our swimming facilities. We've already outfitted the pools with new soft pool liners, new filtration systems, and ADA-compliant lifts. Next on the radar will be major improvements to the pool house, which was built in the 1970s, and it could really use some major renovation. We've also been busy improving the town's 12 pocket parks, which taken together provide almost 60 acres of open space, conveniently located throughout the town. We're installing new fencing, playground equipment, and updating various courts. The first to be completed was Roselleville Park, which was rededicated last fall as the Trooper Michael J. Anson Memorial Park. A Colony native and former Roselleville camp counselor, Trooper Anson sadly passed away last year from an illness he contracted at Ground Zero, and we were so honored that his family supported our wish to name the park after him. And next, on behalf of all of us in the town of Colony, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Assemblyman Phil Steck for his outstanding support. So far, he's arranged for almost $2.7 million for new projects benefiting the town. Plus, he's provided additional grants for the villages located in our town, the village of Colony and the village of Manans. I don't think Phil could make it this morning, but we thank him. I know Thad is here. Thad, we'll give you a round of applause. And you can pass that on to Phil for us. Among several grants to the town are $500,000 for improvements to the town's municipal training center, and another $500,000 to repave the bike path, to install a new playground at the south end of the crossings, and to build a new pavilion at the town park. Also, if any of you entered the town library recently through a maze of plastic-lined passageways, hopefully very carefully, you're walking very carefully, you will see another way in which he has helped move the town forward. While the town is dedicating between $3 and $4 million for major library improvements, Assemblyman Steck secured an additional $1 million to assist with the current reconfiguration of the library's lobby and entryway, which will provide a much more spacious and welcoming environment for our library patrons. We could never do all these projects at once without extra funding. Keep in mind that with Colony's low property tax rate, which is $3.90 per thousand, a 1% tax increase yields the general fund only about $225,000 in new revenue. So you can see how important this additional funding is to the town. And when those funds are added together, to other grants secured by the town, recent grant funding comes to more than $5 million. One of the town-generated grants is a $1 million Restore New York grant for demolition of the old Tobin packing plant. The Tobin site has been one of our most challenging sites, and this grant provides funding for the essential first step in its redevelopment, through which a private developer is planning an exciting mix of retail and residential uses. Another grant of $960,000 is helping us partner with the City of Albany to strengthen backup water supplies. I'll give you a little more detail about that in a few minutes. I'm also pleased that in the past year, we've enhanced the town's ability to apply for new grants. While grants can provide the town with much-needed new funds, getting grants and administering them is extremely labor-intensive. Now we have a new capacity in both our planning and engineering departments, and we're already seeing excellent results. For instance, we are partnering with Albany County Executive Dan McCoy on applying for a $9.5 million in Federal Transportation Improvement Program grants, or TIPS grants, to address congestion and pedestrian safety on 3 major roadways. These applications include $5.1 million for improvements to 4.1 miles of New Carner Road between Western Avenue and Waterville-Shaker Road, and $3.6 million for Waterville-Shaker Road from Carner to Sand Creek Road. We've also jointly applied for $826,000 to improve Albany-Shaker Road between Wolf and Everett Roads, in line with the recommendation of the recently released Albany-Shaker Road Corridor Study. Also on Albany-Shaker Road, a traffic light will be installed later this year at the Shaker Elementary School intersection to increase safety and improve traffic flow during school drop-off and pickup times. The traffic light is being supported by a $125,000 grant also arranged by Assemblyman Steck. I also want to thank County Executive Dan McCoy for his partnership and all of his support for these colony projects. And I know Matt Cannon is here today representing County Executive McCoy, so I'd like to give them a round of applause as well. Thank you. Improving mobility throughout the town is another preliminary recommendation included in the 2005 Comprehensive Plan Update. I think you can see that we are working creatively to find new ways to fund improvements that will enhance our quality of life, both through the town's own efforts and by partnering with our fellow elected officials. And I'm confident that these collaborative efforts will continue to yield great success. And speaking of collaboration, I know we are all excited that the revamped Northway Exit 4 project is finally going forward. It will help traffic flow along Wolf Road and Albany-Shaker Road and will provide much better access to the Albany International Airport. I want to thank John O'Donnell, CEO of the Albany Airport Authority, as well as Chamber CEO Mark Egan and County Executive Dan McCoy for working with me to keep this project alive. They have advocated for this for a long time, and it's really a great accomplishment that this is actually going to happen. So let's give them a round of applause. I also would like to thank the New York State Department of Transportation for supporting the Northway Exit 4 project and many others in Colony. They have been great to work with in many areas through the town. In addition, when both the revamped Exit 4 and the new connector road from Route 9R to Route 9 are completed, we should see notable improvements during peak travel times. Having said that, we must still remember that more than 200,000 cars pass through Colony each day, the great majority of them coming from or heading to the north. Unfortunately for us, if traffic gets backed up on the Northway, it's going to spill out over our roadways. While we are working aggressively and strategically to address traffic issues, it's difficult to be able to totally eliminate the problems, sometimes created by the heavy volume of pass-through traffic. However, we will continue to strive for solutions. Another collaborative project nearing completion is the one I mentioned earlier. It will establish backup water connections between Colony and the city of Albany. This interconnect will provide new, more efficient backup water supplies for both municipalities. And for Colony, it means we will no longer have to support an aging and much more expensive backup system at our Stony Creek Reservoir in Clifton Park. The town's $1.6 million share of the project was offset by a $960,000 New York State Water Infrastructure Grant. As you may remember, the town has been aggressively investing in upgrading its drinking water and sanitary sewer systems since 2014. By the end of this year, we will have invested more than $33 million in these systems. These efforts will continue in 2019, with Latham Water anticipating another $3.1 million in infrastructure improvements. Last summer, Latham Water replaced a mile of mains along Route 9 and Maxwell Road, replacing 1930s era mains that had become increasingly prone to breaks. This year, we will replace an additional 3,800 feet of water main along Route 9 from Maxwell Road to O'Loudon Road. New mains are expensive, but not as expensive as emergency repairs. The cost for this year's water main replacement project is estimated at $1.6 million. Another $1.74 million has been budgeted for improvements to pumps, motors, and screening equipment at the Mohawk View Low Lift Pump Station. In 2018, our Pure Waters Division, which oversees our sanitary sewer system, completed $3.1 million in major upgrades at the Mohawk View Water Pollution Control Plant and the Wolf Road Pumping Station. Next up, we expect to begin the $1.9 million Albany Shaker Road Pumping Station rehabilitation and the $4 million Mohawk View Pollution Control Plant Clarifier projects. By the way, since 2012, Pure Waters has delivered its capital projects at an average of 35% under budget by employing aggressive cost and change control measures. As you can see, there's a lot of money that's going into our infrastructure. This is on an every year basis fulfilling our long-term plans. But it's a tremendous amount of money to fix things that we can't see. They're underground, but they're so important because when they don't work, then we hear from all of you. So we would rather have happy calls. So they're working very, very hard. And I'd like to take a moment now to thank the architects of our long-term strategic infrastructure initiatives. Our DPW Commissioner John Cunningham, Latham Water Superintendent John Frazier, and Pure Water Superintendent Chrétien Verge. Thank you, guys. And I think that these guys keep our town attorney, Mike Bajuli, very, very busy every 2 weeks because the majority of the resolutions, and Julie has to read all of these, okay? I only have to read it once. She's got to read it every 2 weeks. But, it's a lot of work with all the resolutions and the bidding and making sure everything is done done correctly. There is a tremendous amount of background work that also goes into this. We have been very aggressive with our investment because the need to update our aging infrastructure is a major priority. Much of it was built in the 1970s or long before that. Now we're well ahead of the curve when compared to many municipalities. However, even as we make these major investments, we continue to follow a very conservative financial approach. Currently, we are bonded to only about 11% of our constitutional debt limit, and we plan to keep that percentage low, between 10 and 12% per year. That's because we want to be very certain the town can live within its means going forward. It's like using your credit card. At some point, you have to pay it off. It's very important to prepare for the future of the town as we address our current needs. Speaking of living within our means, I'm very excited to tell you about a new project now nearing final approval. This project will allow us to save on our utility bills while promoting sustainable energy in our region. Through this project, the town is investing in hydroelectric power, which allows us to earn green energy credits. These credits will offset a significant portion of our energy usage and stabilize our energy costs over the next 20 years. We are also weighing our options for converting the town's 3,982 streetlights to LED lighting, which would also yield substantial cost and energy savings. And you may remember that last year we signed the New York State Climate Smart Communities Pledge, underscoring our commitment to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. In addition, we are working to become a certified clean energy community. As part of that certification, we are now finalizing the process of adding unified permits for solar installations. Through all these actions, Colony is building on its earlier efforts to be a good environmental citizen by adopting new sustainable energy practices. This is another area highlighted in the comprehensive plan preliminary recommendations. And as I've indicated, the town has recently been in the process of reviewing its 2000 comprehensive plan, and the 2007 land use law changed many zoning provisions to support the plan. Both were in place when I first took office, and some things worked well and some not as well. And now, through the review process, we have an opportunity to determine if there are areas that should be updated and modified the land use law as necessary. Many of the preliminary recommendations reflect goals we've been actively working on throughout my tenure. The next step is to present the draft recommendations and implementation processes at a town board public hearing, which will be held in February. I appreciate the efforts of the Comprehensive Plan Review Committee members in conducting a very thorough review. The Siena Research Institute survey conducted as part of the Comprehensive Plan Review process indicated that more than half of our residents support conservation of open or environmentally sensitive land, and we are now looking at new ways to fund open space preservation through the development process. And just as a reminder, the town currently has 1,155 acres of town-owned land dedicated to recreation and open space. We've added more than 185 acres of open space of that total during my tenure, and also we had dedicated 157 acres of town land to the Pine Bush Preserve. Finally, we will continue our ongoing efforts to enhance connectivity, mobility, and pedestrian accessibility throughout the town, as we have in the past by securing 4 convenient new connections to the bike hike path. Through all my years in office, we've emphasized a well-balanced environment that supports a diverse economic base. We've focused our development efforts on redevelopment of existing properties and have been successful with some of our most difficult sites, including the Latham Mall and Starlight sites. Now we are in the beginning stages of redevelopment of the Tobin Packing Plant site, as I mentioned earlier. And we also welcome the recent news that New York State DEC will invest $16.6 million to clean up the former Altec site. That's the Altec Steel site. Regarding the Starlight site, you may remember that ACO chose Colony for its new headquarters after an exhaustive search. That it chose Colony speaks volumes about our desirability. ACO's decision means that not only will more than 600 well-paying jobs stay right here in Colony, but it also brings with it a potential to add 160 more jobs. I'm happy to report that the project, which is proceeding according to plan, is actually somewhat ahead of schedule, and the connector road between Route 9R and Route 9 being built in connection with the project is likely to be finished this fall. I'm proud of the many sites that have been redeveloped and repurposed, both beautifying the town and ensuring its continued vibrant activity. We continually receive many compliments regarding the redevelopment of commercial sites throughout the town. Going forward, I will continue to focus on creating a town that welcomes new projects while at the same time preserving all its best aspects, welcoming neighborhoods, great recreational facilities, abundant open space, and beautiful vistas. In closing, I'd like to thank all of you for being here and for your commitment to Colony. It's all of us working together that makes Colony the successful community it is today. So, all together, I think that we've exceeded all of our expectations. Thank you all so much for being here this morning, and for all your continuing support for the town of Colony. Thank you. you.